Hello, my friend, and welcome. This is the Back to Me podcast, and I am Heather, and I am super excited that you are here. And I just want to let you know that you're going to hear some tips and some tricks, some ideas, all to help you live your happiest and healthiest life. It is called Back to Me because when you are taking care of yourself, then you can take better care of others. And my goal is to make the world a better place. This is Wellness Your Way. I am really happy that you're here. Your true self is waiting. So it is time to step up and thrive. Hello again, my friend. So I know we just had episode 200 not too long ago. And this is episode number 203. So I guess that was 3 episodes ago. Guess what? This is the official start of season 4. So I'm pretty surprised. Not that I didn't think I would be able to do it, but I'd never really looked ahead to, wow, where will I be in 5 years? That was never my skill, the where will I be in 5 years, because there was too many options. I'm like, what if it's this? What if it's this? I was not the greatest at envisioning 5 years out because there were too many things on the buffet of life. So when I started the podcast, I didn't try to look ahead and see where it would go, but I'm pretty excited. This is now the beginning of our 4th season. And let me tell you, there are some fascinating people that are I've already talked to them. It's called In the Can, right? The recordings are already in the can and they're scheduled to come out. The guests that I have been getting are just so interesting. And the things that I learn when I'm talking to them percolate, mix together, and create new ideas for me, which I love because self-improvement, if I wasn't doing self-improvement for myself, then who would I be telling you to do things for yourself, right? And having conversations about the podcast with new guests and talking to them about what they're for, it is partly for me. I think I mentioned that in the season 200. So one of the things that I do for my own self-care, and this might be, I'm not going to say what your response will be. So I'll just tell you. So one of the things that I do is I have a monthly membership to the sensory deprivation tank. And the one in Toronto that I go to is called Float Toronto. It's in West Queen West, which used to be the second coolest neighborhood in the world, something like that. I don't know how you become the second coolest, but I think it was Condé Nast magazine that declared that. The coolest one was in Japan. So I go to Float Toronto. I try to go every month. I have a monthly membership. Luckily, they don't expire because sometimes I do get busy with all of the other fun things that I do. And I spend an hour in the dark and the quiet floating in the water. I think it has something like 850 pounds of Epsom salts in each tank. And the water is about, I don't know, 2 or 3 feet? No, not even that much, 2 feet deep. Now, sometimes, and I'll be interested, only you will know what your reaction was, but you can send me a message and let me know, give me a comment. Sometimes people will say, oh my God, I couldn't do that. I'm claustrophobic. I'm like, interesting. Really? I wonder if you were born that way. Would you say, I can't be born? It's too claustrophobic. Oh my goodness. I'm just visualizing the babies, the memes that would come out from that. So this is what I'm going to talk about today is a culmination of things that have percolated around in my brain. And they actually came to me while I was in the sensory deprivation tank. And one of the conversations I was having was about babies when you're born. When you are in the womb of your mom, and I'm pretty sure you didn't say it's too dark and it's too quiet and I have claustrophobia. The feeling of claustrophobia that you have came from something. it's not like you were born that way, unless it came from a previous life. I'm not going to talk about that. Let's just stay with this lifetime for now. It came from something you experienced in this lifetime. So it's like you installed that piece of software into your experience when you had that. So as I was in the tank yesterday, I was contemplating how everything in your life, all of the dialogues that you have with yourself are an ongoing story of you. So it came to me, and when I'm in the sensory deprivation tank, usually I'm meditating. Yes, sometimes I fall asleep. Sometimes I'm tired. I can't help it. It's dark, it's quiet, it's warm. How could you not fall asleep? But I try to stay awake, and I try to meditate, and I try to just let my mind do what it's going to do, sift through the information, sift through things. So as it was sifting, my mind went to stories we tell ourselves, and we don't even realize that they're stories. So you'll hear that all the time. Oh, that's just a story you're telling yourself, or that's just an excuse you've made to do X, Y, Z. But it's interesting how it is actually in everything. I'm having trouble right now thinking of where it might not be, but there might be somewhere that it doesn't take place. So I'm thinking about, let's say you're claustrophobic. What caused that to happen? And you might not even remember. But it's like we've created an if then because loop in your software. If it's dark and closed, then I am in danger. What's the because? Where did the because come from? If there's a dog bark, some of it's all meant for protection, right? If there's a big dog barking, then he's probably going to bite me because he's a violent dog. Maybe he's not a violent dog. Maybe you just encountered a lot of violent dogs when you were young. Now, it is trying to keep us safe. Okay, granted. If the light is red, then I have to stop because the cars are driving and they're going to run me over. That is a truth currently for the most part. Not everybody stops at a red light, right? And when you recognize that there's just these if-then loops running in your brain that is taking you out of being present to what's actually happening, then when you recognize it, you can go, oh, wait a minute. I don't have to react that same way. I can step out of that and say, is that really what's happening? So a more interesting or more concrete example for you. So I know a woman who her husband said, all he said to her was, did you mow the lawn? So in her mind, because of her experiences and her expectations, if he's asking me to mow the lawn, then he's mad at me because I haven't mowed the lawn. Instead of because I'm a bad person and I didn't do what I said I was going to do, and I can't be depended upon, and obviously, I'm a bad person and nobody should love me. I know that's extreme, but imagine if that is playing in your head. It's not true, is it? It's not true. What if you could stop that conversation and stop it at the then? If so, he has asked me, did I mow the lawn? Instead of the story starting to play in your head of what's really meant by did I mow the lawn, say, no, I haven't, if you haven't done it. And there doesn't have to be a story that goes with it. Maybe this person just wants to know, did you mow the lawn yet? I'm just curious because I was going to go take the cuttings to the curb or something. There doesn't have to be a reason behind, or questions usually have a reason. It doesn't have to be the story that you're telling yourself behind the things that occur in your life. One of the common things that happens is people will try to lose weight. This is so common. And and not achieve it. So over time, over your lifetime, you develop a story that you are not good at that. You can never be the size that you want to be. You can never achieve what you want to achieve. We could extrapolate it out to anything you want. I am not lovable because I can't lose weight because I'm a failure at everything. You can extrapolate those stories out to the maximum. And what does that do to you? What does that do to your self-esteem? What does that do to your vision of yourself, your self-love, your ability to advocate for yourself, to have personal boundaries, if you would believe that you fail at everything, how does that help you? Everything in your life, there's going to be instances where something doesn't work out, but that does not mean that that's always true. That does not mean that if you did it again, you would get the same result. By basing all future decisions based on the past, doesn't that cause you to live in the past rather than in this moment of now? How are you able to create change in your life if you believe that everything you've ever done before will get you the same result? Interesting. Einstein just bumped into my head. Hello there, Einstein. He's saying, yes, if you keep doing the same thing and expecting different results, then that's a definition of an insanity. But you can do the same thing with different mindset and different intention, and you will get a different result because then you aren't doing it the same way. That's how I'm going to overcome Einstein. So imagine that you have a goal that you want to achieve. We all have goals, even if they're small. My goal is to get through my to-do list today. I only ever put 3 things on my to-do list on a daily basis. I mean, I have an ongoing to-do list off to the side. Yes, I always have more than 3 things to do. But in general, it's not reasonable to ask myself to do more than 3 things in a day because I honor my energy levels and that I need more rest. So, and downtime, and who wants to spend all their day at their desk, right? So my intention is to get through 3 things on my to-do list today. Does it work out? Sometimes. Do I give myself a hard time when it doesn't work out? Sometimes I do, because I forget that the story is not what I achieved today. It's who I was today. So if I can remember who I wanted to be, then I can look at my day and say, yes, granted, I'm looking at my calendar from last week. There was one day where I got nothing done that I had planned to do that day. Was I a failure that day? No, I was not a failure that day because I was doing something else. Something came in across my desk, into my computer, into my mind. And I paused and said, I have these 3 things I wanted to get done or needed to get done. I have this other thing. Decide which has the biggest priority. And it doesn't have to be the hustle mentality. It doesn't have to be the monetary, mentality. It can just be prioritization right now. This right now has a larger priority for me. You can give yourself your because. You don't have to give yourself an excuse. But if it has a greater priority, then that's what you do. And that's what I did. So everything else just shuffled on through. I was actually, I asked the Akashic Record readers a question recently, and I wasn't even asking them about my to-do list. I actually just asked them about my day. So I tried to ask them on a regular basis about what can I know about my day? And this actually was the day. No, it was the day before I didn't get anything done. And basically they were telling me life doesn't go as you are planning it, because you can't know the vastness of possibilities or plan for the vastness of possibilities that are coming your way. So don't let your ego give you a hard time if something switches along the way. So imagine you're going on a road trip and you say, I'm going to drive from here to there, and you've got it mapped out. This is the exact way I'm going. But then you get part way and Google maybe comes on and says, hey, there's a faster way over here, or you might hit a roadblock and you can't go that way. If you give yourself a hard time saying, I was driving this way, this was the way I was going, I didn't want to go any other way, I have failed. Instead of saying, oh, circumstances have changed, I've decided I'm going to take this detour. Heck, maybe I'll find a cool coffee shop along the way that I wasn't expecting, and I'll meet somebody that I wasn't expecting to meet. And who knows what could happen along the way? Who knows what could happen along the way? But the let go, what did they say? They said, just have fun, practice, make the plan, practice making your plans. They said that was okay, but let go of trying to force that plan into place. Let go of trying to make things happen and let the day unfold to your highest and best good. So if your priorities change, if something changes, you haven't failed. You are just letting the day unfold. What does that have to do with anything? So this has to do with my belief that all of you who listen have dreams and goals, but sometimes the thing that is stopping you, so you'll listen to the podcast, you'll get some great ideas. Do you take any action on them? And I want to start this season 4 with this idea of, if you hear something that you think sounds interesting and you're just curious, or sounds like the perfect thing, I want you to take an action. I don't want you to hear it and then forget it. Because if you don't take action immediately after you hear something, there's some huge percentage, like 50% of that remembering is gone within the first day. So your belief systems and the stories of your if-then loop are creating your reality. They're creating your reality for you, even if you're not aware of it. So what I'm hoping that you do is, if you hear something in this podcast that you think would help you or shift something for you, or even help someone else, you can send it to them, or you can shift yourself and to demonstrate it for them. But using that action of trying without an expectation of the outcome, just going to try it and see what it's like. Doesn't matter if it works, doesn't matter if it doesn't work. I want you to try with an action to start to shift yourself. Instead of just being a listener and a consumer of information, start to take an action, because my goal is to help you shift into a higher vibration, into the goals, into the best person that you can be. And if I can't entice you to at least take a teeny step forward, then I don't know. I'm not a failure, obviously, because I can't fail. All it is information. But my biggest goal, my biggest dream is to help you and everyone you know become better at life and be happier at life. So have a listen. I'm going to do a best hits episode coming soon. Like, all the words of wisdom that we do, or at the end of each show, I'm going to compile some of my favorite ones and do a greatest hits, a greatest hits album for you to have a listen to. And heck, if you download it, maybe you can just, like, when you're having a bad day, just listen to all the affirmations, moments of wisdom, the More Power Hour. We'll call it the More Power Hour or something. My friend, I know it's cliche. Goals, visions without action is just daydreams. I love daydreams, you know that. But without taking that next step, they don't get to come to life. Breathe some life into those dreams. Give it some CPR. Take some action. Stay tuned. Season 4 is going to be fabulous. I will see you again next time. Hello, my friend. I hope you enjoyed that episode. And if you found it useful and you're like me and you want to help others, please share this, comment, like, subscribe, all of those things that will help this podcast to be found by more people. And if you found it useful, there's a chance that someone else will find it useful as well. If you ever have any questions, I am here to answer your questions. I would love to help you. My direct email address is info@heatherstewart.coach. You can also find me at heatherstewart.coach. And if you go over to my website, you will find copies of the podcast. You'll find the link to my Instagram and my Facebook. And I do have a personal request because I do want to help as many people as I can with these podcasts. So if you could give me a review, and my friend, I would love if you gave me a good one. If you could share this, if you could send it out into the world, I would truly appreciate it. I hope that you have an amazing day. I hope that you are finding your way back to wellness by getting back to me. Take care, my friend. Be well, and we will see you again next time.